Right? Similar question could be, say in an exam, you come across a question. So how many different decisions you have, you can take in reference to this question? You can either attempt it or you can skip it. That is not attempted. Second question also you can do the same, either attempt it or not attempt it. So basically you have two choices for every single question. Okay, you are the one who's making your choices now. Which means for every question you have two choices. So if there are say 50 questions in the exam, you can take either of the two decisions in the first question, either of the two decisions in the second question, and so on. So in how many ways can you take decisions in the whole exam for all the 50 questions? Also understand, decision that you take for the first question will be independent of the decision that you take for the second question. So total number of ways in which you can take the decision is 2 into 2 into 2, 50 times, which is equal to 2 to the power 50. Okay. Now say in every question, again you have 50 questions and also basically you can attempt or skip, but for every question you have two choices as to how to answer. If you decide to answer, not skip, attempt, there are two ways of answering, true or false, all true and false questions. So you can either say true or you can say false or you can skip the question. So now in how many ways can you answer all 50 questions? So each question you have three choices, right? True, false or skip, which means the answer will be 3 to the power 50. Because whatever decision you take in any question will be independent of the decision that you will take in some other question. So whenever there is a sense of independence among decisions, you multiply. Alright? You understand this? Say in an exam there are 5 questions, each with 4 options. Right? The question is, first question says, in how many ways can you attempt the paper? Right? In how many ways can you attempt the paper, the whole paper? So first one question, if you actually answer that question, you have 4 choices like in CAT. So you can pick any one of the 4 choices. So for every question you will have 4 choices if you decide to answer. But you also have a fundamental choice not to answer a question. No one can take that right away from you, not to answer a question. Which means for every question I have 5 choices. Either I skip the question or pick any one of the 4 answer options. If I have 5 choices for every question, then for 5 questions how many choices I have? 5 to the power 5. Right? Now if the second question is, attempt at least one question. I still remember this is what my dad used to say. I can remember the pain in his eyes when he used to say this to me, beta, do well in the exam, just make sure you attempt at least one question. So in how many ways can you make sure you attempt at least one question? The number of ways in which attempt the paper is 5 to the power 5. Attempt one question means the only scenario not acceptable to you is when you skip every single question. Every question you read and you take a very mature, adult, conscious decision that I will let it go. And you do that for all the 5 questions. That is the only scenario that you don't want to face. In how many ways can you skip the whole paper, reject all the questions? One way. Maybe you can try this in one of the papers, you will be convinced of this. So in only one way can you reject all the questions. So in how many ways can I ensure that I attempt at least one question, 5 to the power 5 minus 1. Okay? Alright, now let's come to the third question. Exactly 3 questions. I don't know what is the scenario now, but when we used to give the exam, these kind of situations were really common. Attempt any 3, right? Attempt any 4. So these kind of questions we often used to come across in our board exams and all. So there are 5 questions, each with 4 options, and the paper says attempt any 3 of them. Then it's a decision making time for a young harassed student. Out of 5 questions, first he will select 3 questions, which 3 to attempt after much deliberation, or maybe with some prayer also. In each of these 3 questions which he has decided to answer, he has 4 choices. Remember, he does not have 5 choices because he has forsaken the choice to skip that question. He has decided to attempt that question, which means he has to take one of the 4 answer options. So for each of the question that he decides to answer, he has 4 choices now. So for 3 such questions, it will be 4 cube. What about the 2 questions that he decided to let go? You can reject a question in only one way. You don't answer it. So there you can take a decision or respond in only one way. The remaining 2 questions can be taken care of in one way. So in how many ways can you ensure that you answer 3 questions? Select your 3 questions. Answer the 3 questions, each question in 4 ways. So 3 questions will be answered in 4 cube ways. And the 2 questions will be rejected in one way. So this is the number of fields. Alright? Okay. So I think